Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, a frigid, cold Tuesday afternoon here in Pittsburgh, PA. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, being part of the broadcast. Appreciate you all hanging out. Got a good one for you. Got to have Craig Mason of Reasonable TV joining us at the halfway mark. Very excited about that. But for now, let's go ahead and say hello to our friends around the interwebs, wherever you're watching. Jump into chat. We'll say hi. Then we'll get the show officially underway at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Q-Oys, Leno Vincent, Lucy Anders, Starwalker 77, Barbara Rowe, Truth Teller 101, Cushion On, and Powdered Sugar all chilling over on D-Live. Shout out to all you guys over there. Like I said, hope you're all having an awesome Tuesday. Shout out to all of you guys on Rumble as well. Hit the thumbs up button for us over there on Rumble if you haven't already done that. And yeah, shout out to Spiky999 and Liberty's Great Awakening chilling over on Rumble today. To all the Cloud Hub, Odyssey, and Twitter viewers, YouTube as well. Hope you guys are all having an awesome Tuesday. And of course, the Comfy Bunker, pilled.net. Good to see so many of our friends already piling on into the chat. If you're out there, jump on in. About to run through as many of you guys as I can, and then away we go. Floyd in there first today. What's up, Due Diligence? D. Richard right behind him with Patriot 714. Also, Jenny, Curious One, what's going on? Hope you and Lyle are having an awesome Tuesday. Floyd, thank you for the Choco Taco cookie on this Taco Tuesday. Yeah, awesome. Spiky999 double dipping, and thank you again, Floyd, for all the love and the tasty treats. We got Sergeant Peterson out there. What's up, buddy? McKinnon88, good to see you. Pat McFly, welcome. Space Cookie, good to see. Barb Robbins over in the Comfy Bunker as well. My man 2A, Freedom Rider repping the 412. Let's go 2A. I like that penguin sticker. I'm actually going to snag that. Very cool. Very, very cool. Shane RQ in the house. Fazic, great to see you. Roy Stones and Bones over on the West Coast. What's up, Roy? Jenker 2, Snow Bunny 68. What's going on? Bella 214 in the house. Tweety 52, how you doing? Fazic, Aurelius Locke, welcome you guys. And Dreadquarters, what's up, Dreadquarters? Jeff Den in the house. Paul Thaddeus, good to see you, Paul. Truth Teller 101, double dipping, love to see it. Running Patriot out there, what's going on? Trump Red Pill and Jennifer M, good to see you all. We got R Harold dropping a cookie. Thank you, R Harold, great to see you, my friend. And let's see who else. Laura Y repping the 412. Let's go, Laura. Good afternoon, Mr. Gerardo. Dale Bersier checking in from North Dakota. Great to see you, Dale. Cali Patriot 14 in the house. Kim Iowa bringing the heat. Good to see you, Kim. Glenna Riggleman, welcome. Krista Poo10, good to see you. And looking Fan Cactus out there. What's up, Fan Cactus? How you doing? Trick Pony, good to see you out there, Pony. DCM 17, good to see you as well. Crockett Man 62, welcome. Ghost Pepper, good to see you, dude. Let's see, anybody else? Timar, what's up, Timar? Oilman 94, how we doing? Target Driver, good to see you as well. All right. Where is everybody today? It is 3:57 and I am already at the bottom of the pill chat. Oh, that is crazy. I can't remember the last time we got through it so quickly. Biden suck stuff, Silebor, Morning Flower, great to be with you guys. I hope you're having a good Tuesday over there on D Live. Shout out to all of you. And let's see, Dave 75 out there. What's up, Dave? Cap 1Q in the house. What's up, Cap? Good to see you. Let's see, Patriot Donnie. What's up, Donnie? Thank you for the can. This was missed yesterday, but saw the replay. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for the love and tuning in today. True Grit says working and lurking. My man Kaiman, Molon Labe checking in as well over in South Africa. Shout out to all of our Patriots abroad. Love seeing the global reach of this little platform we've built here. Super cool. Very, very cool. Let's see. I said hi to Oilman. How you doing, Oilman? Hope you're having a good Tuesday so far, brother. PDX Patriot, good to see you. Awake Russell in the house. True Grit. Pleasure. Big Willie. How you doing, Big Willie? Good to see you out there, my friend. If you guys haven't hit that red pill button, make sure you do that. Make sure you repost the show as well. That little circular symbol underneath the red and blue pill options. Very big deal. Share the link wherever you're watching the show. Always appreciate you guys sharing out the show, helping us grow across any of our platforms. Yeah, Filter Dog, what's up, dude? Good to see you out there, my friend. All right. Well, Misfortune, how are we today? Good to see you. Good to see you all. Starwalker, I said hi to Starwalker already. All right. Well, I guess let's go ahead and get this show started. We'll be back in just a few moments. Creaky Crawdad, good to see you. Facts Not Fear, how are you? Good to see you as well. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
We will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Y'all for tuning in, Patriots United, doing what we gotta do to win. We addicted, the MS7, now we're moving in. And once we take over, we won't ever move again. Where we go on, we go all, I say it with pride. No, we won't run, we won't fall, we're right by your side. The demons have taken hold, but none of us will abide. Stand strong and stand bold, that's how we'll survive. 412 is the production. Monday through Friday, deplorable discussions. We're making it hard for the deep state to function. Every time they switch up the narrative, we debunk it. Adult Nero is the power that's controlling the plight. With all the patriots behind them, cause we're all in this fight. So many rhyme for so long, but we're giving them sight. Trapped in the world of darkness, but we're bringing them light. You may even find yourself in a different life. A lot of us have, and honestly, that's perfectly fine. Because exactly where you are at this moment in life is where you're supposed to be at this moment in time. It's all by design. The patriots are holding the line. They must have lost theirs, thinking they're controlling our minds. So many trapped in mental prisons don't know they're confined. They're just slaves in the system till the roles are assigned. That's sad. The good news is that we're waking them up. They have monopolies on minds, but we're breaking them up. Everything you thought was news, they were making it up. When we ascend, all the tyrants won't be making the cut. Let them all burn in the hellscape they create. We the people already mapped out our escape. We hold each other by the hand as we all elevate and go to a different place. They can never get chased. When I look into the future, I can see that it's bright. When this history is written, they will see that we're right. We formed our own community and the circle is tight. But I expand the circle with every word that I write. The pen is sharper than the sword when you wield it with might. Why do you think they try to kick us off all the sites? These people hate America, punish us out of spite. We are the beacons of hope in the darkness of night. So let's go, strap in, yeah, get ready for the ride. Watch the water, we're witnessing the turning of the tide. Feel the passion and the fire that you got burning inside. Take the narrative they're feeding you and turn it to the side. We're alerted to the lies, replace it with the truth. We know the plan they devised, they're invading the youth. Now we're only sending vibes, just our raising our boots. These demons all weaponized. Now we're raising our troops, now we're raising the roof and sounding the alarm. Remember that it's always darkest before the dawn. Life it's a game of chess, they want to use you as a pawn. You're only useful until you're not useful, then you're gone. But not us, we're on the right team where we belong. Everybody is invited, so come follow along. We refuse to say things are right, knowing they're wrong. Adult Nero, take the mic and take flight, cause it's on.
And now, straight from the Steel City, it's your host, 412 Adult Nero.
Coming back. All right, everybody. Happy Tuesday. So good to be back with you all for another broadcast here on 412 Productions. My name is Adult Nero. It is November 28th, 2023. Riding shotgun with me today is my very good friend, Tennessee homesteader, TN. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing hunky, easy peasy Dory.
Hunky, easy peasy Dory. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a good day. I don't know why, but I feel good.
Good, man. Good. I'm glad you're light and easy today. It makes me happy. Yeah.
I'll have you know I slept in.
Did you? So what? You slept until like what, 2 a.m. today?
No, actually 5:30.
5:30. Oh my God.
I know that's way late. That's
Very late for you.
That is way late. But no, it's I had to hightail it out there because I had to check to make sure the thermal block on my I have the chicken heating, set up in the coops, but it's set up on thermal blocks, which are on at 35 degrees, off at 45 degrees type of thing. But it's the first time in the season that I'm using them, so I got to make sure that they're still operational. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
Got up and threw my stuff on there, threw my jacket on. I go out there and it's like, oh yes, it's 28 degrees. But it wasn't too bad.
Well, I'm glad you're able to keep warm, buddy. It's gonna only get colder from here, unfortunately.
Yeah. So. Hey, listen, as long as it stays north of 20, I can deal with it. When it starts getting south of 20, it starts becoming a little cumbersome.
Yeah. For me, I'm the same way. Only I draw my cutoff at like 55 degrees.
That's Celsius too, right?
Yeah, of course. No, I don't like it super hot, but
no, at Celsius you'd be boiling.
I was gonna say 55 Celsius has got to be like over almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it makes the Sahara look like the Antarctica.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if that's what I need, but definitely 55 Fahrenheit or above sounds good. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here, Tien. As you guys know, Drunk Pinata is taking the day off. He's got Matrix duties that conflict with today's show, so we won't be hearing from Pinata today. But at the halfway point of today's show, our good friend Craig Mason of Reasonable TV is going to jump in and hang out with us. So really excited for his visit in the second half of the show. That'll be available exclusively on pilled.net. So throwing that out there early today. Those of you that want to see the interview, you'll have to find your way over to pilled.net, and those links are available in the Rumble and YouTube descriptions beneath the stream. So hope you guys will come over and hang out with us for Craig's interview a bit later. All right, well,
before you get started with sponsors, can I say something about Pilled and PSP?
Yeah, sure.
There was something recently happened because it came across my Truth Social and feed. Apparently there was a shill in on the PSP chat masquerading as woke society as Scott.
Oh,
yeah, and he was ragging on PSP and kind of like making it look like Scott was going out about Pilled. So if you guys see that coming across and you hear about that, it was a shill masquerading because it wasn't Scott's. It was close to Scott's handle, but it wasn't Scott.
you have to be
just
like,
a heads up. Just wanted to say that.
you have to have very little going on in your life to take the time to impersonate like Scott to fuck with PSB on
on D-Live. I think it was on the D-Live chat. If from the screen image that I saw, I think it was on the because that's the
Scott
primary.
doesn't even hang out on D-Live anymore.
I know that's the whole point.
Over there in so long, like so for someone to sit there and make an account to mimic his and then go and troll PSB, it's like you really have nothing better to do. That's so weird. Such a weird
But
way.
you know how as we often say, the lie gets around the world before the truth gets out the front door, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I thought I'd make an announcement before we get going.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Shout out to our friends over at PSB. I don't really interact with PSB all that often, but I do have the utmost respect for what they do over there. So much love to Pamphlet Radix and the whole fam over there. All right, let's take care of the sponsors and then we'll jump in. We'll jump into some of the different news items we've got set aside for today. First is Earth Garden Botanicals. You guys know all about Earth Garden Botanicals, but did you know that the discount on our promo code is doubled to 20% till the end of the year? Great opportunity for you guys to load up on a lot of these wonderful products like the CBD products, the hemp products, the CBD oils are amazing. All the ingredients grown locally, organically and locally in Montana on small farms. You got a great value here. The product is pure and potent and the pricing is just right. The CBD oil for pets is awesome too. The Delta 8 R&R nighttime gummies will help you get a good night's sleep. And the topical cream, the arnica salve, helps for joint and muscle pain. You can get that with CBD infused or without. All of these products are amazing. If the CBD and hemp products aren't your thing, check out the fire cider for clearing your sinuses. That stuff is amazing. If you feel stuffed up, having trouble breathing through your nose, take a sip of fire cider. I bet it does wonders for you. Elderberry tonic is really good for boosting your immune system. So you definitely want to give that a try for sure. Keep that in the medicine cabinet this winter. If you're a tea drinker, 4 great teas to drink, to choose from. Very enjoyable. I've tried most of these. They're all very, very good. I really love the sunshine and pine needle tea. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And then you have your critter juice, keeping mosquitoes and insects away. I know for a lot of you, it's too cold to worry about that right now, but those of you that live in the southern part of the country could probably still make use of this. And it's just not bad to be stocked up on. The weather will be getting warm again before you know it. And there's a ton of other great products here too for you guys to go check out and look at. Again, promo code 412 gets you 20% off your order. It goes back down to 10%, that promo code, at the end of the year. So get your orders in now while you can. Great opportunity to buy some gifts, stocking stuffers, or just, like I said, load up for yourself. Stock up your own inventory of these wonderful products. And then also our friends at diamondsoapco.com. Diamond Soap Co. is awesome. Diamond Soap Co. is America first as it gets. They are family and veteran owned and operated. Harold and Laura are Air Force Intel vets. They've been married over 30 years. They make all of these products handmade here in the United States using organic, all natural ingredients, which is phenomenal. These soaps, these body butters are amazing. I love the way they smell. The Bonfire and the Kentucky Bourbon are my favorites, but I have grown quite fond of many of these, like the frankincense and myrrh. Shout out to Lance for inspiring that one. Green tea cucumber is so bright and fresh. It's very, very refreshing. Your Island Escape smells like the beach. So if you like that island vibe, I highly recommend that one. The Cedar Amber is really pleasant as well. The Sweet Almond is great, especially for this time of year. For whatever reason, the Sweet Almond just reminds me of like late fall, winter kind of weather. Classic Clean, that's actually what I'm using right now. It's pretty enjoyable as well. And there's a lot of other ones like Southern Peach, Night Violet, Rose, all kind of different scents. So something for everybody. The body butter is really a great product too, keeping you from getting dry and itchy this winter. I can't recommend it enough. And they got a promo code over there for us as well. Promo code 412 gets you 17% off your order. It's another great opportunity for gifts, stuffing the stocking of your friends and family, or just loading up yourself. This is, you talk about the parallel economy and buying and purchasing habits, voting with your dollar. What better opportunity than, switching from buying your soaps from Procter and Gamble or Johnson and Johnson or Walmart to, America First family-owned, veteran-owned business like DiamondSoapCo.com. So go check it out, DiamondSoapCo.com, promo code 412 for 17% off. So there you go. Get yourself a t-shirt and a hoodie too. The hoodies are super warm. I have one and I really love it. So can't recommend everything there enough. All right. With that, again, before we get started, just another quick reminder to repost the show if you haven't already done so on pill.net. Hit that red pill button, share the link wherever you're watching. If you're on Rumble, give us a thumbs up. And again, if you want to watch and hang out with Craig in the second half, that'll be exclusively in the second half of the show on pill.net. All right. Let's get started here. Court rejects another bid to keep President Trump off primary ballot. They can't win these cases. I love this. A federal district court in Rhode Island on Monday rejected a bid to disqualify former President Trump from candidacy in the 2024 presidential election, citing an earlier ruling by an appeals court that rejected a similar claim. Chief Judge John J. McConnell of the U.S. District Court in Rhode Island on Monday summarily dismissed the complaint by John Anthony Castro, a lesser-known Republican presidential candidate from Texas who sought to disqualify President Trump from the ballot. So now you have Republicans going after him too. If that doesn't tell you something. That marked another defeat for Mr. Castro, who filed lawsuits in more than 24 states over the past few months, including the one in Rhode Island that was dismissed today to disqualify Trump from the ballot for the 2024 presidential election. Mr. Castro has argued in his filings that President Trump engaged in insurrection against the United States by virtue of his actions and words related to the January 6, 2021 Capitol breach and must be disqualified from holding federal office by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. The Section 3 provision bars officials who have engaged in insurrection or rebellion from holding office, and around its passage in the 19th century pertained to members of the Confederacy in the American Civil War. In recent months, courts in Florida, Colorado, New Hampshire, Minnesota, and Michigan have dismissed his claims, mostly for procedural or jurisdictional reasons, such as lack of standing or the courts refraining from ruling on a political question. Judge McConnell's Monday ruling followed a November 21st ruling on the same matter, also brought by Mr. Castro by a higher court, the Court of Appeals for the First Circuit. The appeals court has appellate jurisdiction over the Rhode Island District Court, so its rulings are binding on the lower court. In that earlier ruling, The appeals court affirmed a lower court's ruling and rejected Mr. Castro's bid to remove President Trump from the New Hampshire ballot for the 2024 presidential election. The judges reasoned that Mr. Castro failed to show that he suffered injury, in fact, a required component for bringing the case under Section 3 by Trump's candidacy, because Mr. Castro's claim that his votes would be taken away during the 2024 election should President Trump run is too speculative as of the time Mr. Castro filed his complaint. The appeals court also affirmed the lower court's reasoning that the case is a political subject that falls out of the types of matters that a court can adjudicate, but did not elaborate on this point. President Trump's spokesperson, Stephen Chung, touted Monday's ruling as a victory for the former president's campaign. Quote, earlier today, a federal judge in Rhode Island dismissed yet another frivolous 14th Amendment challenge to President Trump's ballot eligibility in 2024, Mr. Chung wrote in a statement on President Trump's campaign website. The American people have the unassailable right to vote for the candidate of their choosing at the ballot box, something the Democrats and their allies driving these cases clearly disagree with. President Trump believes the American voter, not the courts, should decide who wins next year's election, and we urge a swift dismissal of all such remaining bogus ballot challenges. Mr. Castro did not immediately return a request for comment. And then it gets into some background around the overall case law that they're going after, and then reflects on what happened in Colorado as well. I don't feel like any of that's super necessary at the moment, so I'll leave that one there. But Tien, it's good news. You know, this attempt to remove him from the ballot using the 14th Amendment is falling flat on its face. So I think I feel like that puts all the more pressure on Jack Smith and Alvin Bragg and Fannie Willis to try to, get some kind of guilty verdict or conviction or ruin him in the public eye one way or another. But your reaction to another dismissal of the 14th Amendment cases?
6 for 6,
right?
Which makes Colorado the outlier, but not necessarily from the decision perspective, but from the narrative within the opinion, because the final order in the conclusion is what matters. Everything else before that is an opinion by that judge, which is useless. But I think it was done on purpose to be able to have some form of fodder to a narrative, right? Which falls apart because of this one, this latest one. Yeah, and I agree with you on the Fannie Willis one. Unless they get him on something on RICO, which I doubt seriously that'll ever even fly, because as we've seen, they're backtracking. Even though the more dangerous one is the one in D.C., obviously the Jack Smith one.
Yeah, Judge Schuster, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which she just, I saw an article where she denied the motion for disclosure.
Yeah, we'll get into that here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not the next article, but yeah,
that's also going to be an interesting one, because how could she deny, just like her gag order was overturned? I got the feeling that this also, how could she deny information?
Well, it's essentially Brady materials, right? I mean, you're talking essentially exculpatory.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a direct violation of Donald Trump.
But I'm sure that they'll use the national security aspect angle as a backstop. But we'll see what happens, because here's the interesting thing to me is, like, how can you have a national security issue against a guy that still has security clearance? Unless Biden yanks the security clearance. Now, we know that he yanked the executive privilege aspect of it, but that's not the same thing as yanking his security. And if you turn around and you yank the security of a president, an ex-president, holy shit.
Yeah, that's right?
So they're digging the hole. They're digging the hole bigger and bigger, broader and deeper. So I don't know, man. Because they're going to get to China sooner or later, even though China's already there.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting to watch. Let's get into that. let's get into that article.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun on that, but it kind of relates to that, right?
Yeah, it's a good segue, and this is important. And I'll give my thoughts here after we read a bit more about it as to why I think these type of decisions will come back around and boomerang eventually. But DC judge denies Trump request for subpoenas of J6 committee materials. So DC District Judge Tanya Chutkan has denied former President Donald Trump's motion to subpoena records from the House of Representatives January 6 committee, arguing that his requests are like a fishing expedition. Her 7-page decision criticized the scope and alleged vagueness of President Trump's request. It also argued that he was improperly applying Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 17 to information that could be obtained through other means. Defendant, quote, defendant has not met his burdens with respect to his proposed 17 subpoenas, Judge Chutkan said. He has not sufficiently justified his request for either the missing materials themselves or the other 5 categories of documents related to them. Quoting the United States versus Cuthbertson, she added that broad scope of the records that defendant seeks and his vague description of their potential relevance resemble less a good faith effort to obtain identified evidence than they do a general fishing expedition that attempts to use the rule as a discovery device. President Trump's initial motion from October 11th requested purportedly missing materials that the House Select Committee on January 6th had allegedly failed to preserve and transfer to another congressional committee. Fox News reported in August that Representative Barry Loudermilk, chairman of the subcommittee on oversight for the Committee on House Administration, accused the Select Committee of failing to provide certain communications with the Biden administration, as well as video recordings of depositions and interviews leveraged by the Select Committee. Quote, President Trump is fully entitled to seek the missing records by subpoena, the defense wrote in its October motion. It's also equally important to determine if these records have been lost, destroyed, or altered. The requested subpoenas are narrowly tailored to achieve these legitimate ends, which are fundamental to ensuring President Trump's right to a fair trial under the 5th and 6th Amendments. As the missing records are currently unavailable, the requested subpoenas would not be duplicative of any other records either publicly available or produced in discovery. In addition to those materials, President Trump made requests for 5 other categories of materials, communications, and documents related to the original. Quote, without these documents, President Trump cannot possibly have a fair trial, the defense said. President Trump is currently preparing for a trial in which the Justice Department is accusing him of conspiring to undermine the 2020 election results. The Biden administration has tied President Trump to the events at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, prompting fierce opposition from the defense. Issued on November 27th, the order comes 10 days after Judge Chutkan denied President Trump's request to strike certain inflammatory statements related to the events of January 6, 2021 from the DOJ's indictment. The requested subpoenas targeted the archivist of the United States at the National Archives and Records Administration, the January 6th Select Committee, White House and Homeland Security Department attorneys, and Mr. Loudermilk Select Committee Chairman Benny Thompson, and the clerk of the House of Representatives. Mr. Thompson denied an obligation to provide the video recordings requested by Mr. Loudermilk. He added that some of the records weren't provided because they were undergoing review by executive branch because of national security and other concerns. There that is again. This was part of the Select Committee's effort to accommodate the executive branch in appropriately protecting certain sensitive information while also complying with the archiving rules of the House, Mr. Thompson said. The executive branch was still conducting its review of that material to provide appropriate archiving guidance at the time the Select Committee dissolved. Accordingly, the Select Committee did not have the opportunity to properly archive the material with the rest of its records with the benefit of the executive branch's guidance to ensure witness safety, our national security, and law enforcement sensitive information. So all of your regular excuses to keep their targets in the dark of what their plans are, or to hide what I believe would be exculpatory materials, Brady materials, and the more Judge Chutkan runs interference for January 6th, the more Donald Trump's defense team has ammunition to file appeals down the road. Every one of these decisions might help get to where Jack Smith and the deep state want to go in the short term around these cases. But make no mistake, all of this will come back to bite them in the appeals process, because Donald Trump can simply, and his defense team can simply line these things up, showing the bias, showing the hostile venue for the trial, showing the judge failing to be objective, the suppression of exculpatory evidence and Brady materials. They're not giving themselves, in my opinion, much rope for the appeals process when you talk about the prosecutors, which leads me to believe that they're just trying to rush towards a short-term narrative driving conviction here, which I feel is silly. Like, if they got the judge they want in the venue they want, you would think they would remove as much as they can, as far as ammunition for Donald Trump's defense team down the line, knowing that they'll still likely get their conviction from a jury that's likely going to be 80+% Biden voters. So I feel like the strategy here is really poorly thought out by, I don't know if I would say the judge. If the judge has a strategy, the judge shouldn't have a strategy, but it sure feels like she does, like she's working lockstep with the prosecution on this um, on this issue. So Donald Trump may appeal this decision as well in the short term, or may wait till after like I said, after the trial's over and use this as appeal ammunition. I don't know. But I feel like Judge Chutkan is really making it easy on Trump's attorneys down the road when she's removed from the picture. Homesteader, what do you think about this? You already kind of gave some thoughts, but do you agree that this is kind of just giving the defense more and more ammunition for the appeals process? If this does end up going to trial and they do end up getting a conviction?
Yes, generally yes. It's a time issue here, in my opinion, or at least obviously. But I mean, from the calendar perspective. Okay, what's the time issue? And I've mentioned this before, but the more that Trump delays it, the better it is for Trump. Because the later the more, let's say, gumming up the works on the trial, the longer it takes for the verdict of the trial. The longer the verdict, the longer the appeal, the process, right? Because you can't appeal until there's a judgment. The dilemma is, and they know that too, Smith and the judge and everybody else. So the race condition here is an aspect of, yes, Trump will more than likely win an appeal on the appeal if there is a judgment against him for all the things you said. But it's the clock that's the issue. Because until the appeal is done, unless there's an injunction of some sort on the verdict, which there can't be, Trump then is guilty until the appeal is resolved. And if that appeal is not resolved before election, let alone before January 20th, where does that put us? You have an elected, a president-elect that cannot take office. That's where the game is. And that's why I was saying that the way I look at it is that the hurdles that are being put up are basically falling apart to prevent them from being not the nominee. The next cycle is to prevent them from running at the election, right? So he's already the presumptive nominee, and they can't stop him from not being on the ballot for nominee for all the things we've discussed. But now it's the presumptive nominee because of all the numbers. So it comes to the next hurdle is the convention itself, because that's when they definitively name the nominee. And we have to see what the RNC does. Now, assuming that he gets the nomination, the next hurdle is the election. Assuming he's elected, he becomes president-elect, the next hurdle is the aspects of the Electoral College making its way to the Senate and ultimately January 6th again, and then January 20th. Those are the time frames. So we're looking at December 14th for the Electoral College, December, I think it's 23rd of 24 for the Senate to receive and put the electoral votes under lockbox, then January 6th again, and then January 20th. Those are the dates that are playing against the judgment and the appeal.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So that right now, all this machination here is kind of interesting because on one side it helps Trump, on the other side it could hurt Trump from a time point of view, not from a legitimacy perspective, but from a time point of view.
Now the Supreme Court could always like hear things on an emergency basis, right? So like let's say they convict him on January 1st, 2025. He could appeal to the Supreme Court, and I mean they could take that case up by January like 5th, right? I mean there's nothing stopping them from holding an emergency oral arguments and having a ruling to have this settled in time for inauguration day.
For inauguration, because January 6th, the Democrats and the rhinos kind of shot themselves in the foot by changing the law or amend the electoral,
they'd be forced to certify his electors.
Exactly. So whatever the Electoral College comes out with, it's a done deal by their own rules, right? So yeah, you're right. It could be an emergency scenario with the Supreme Court. Can it be resolved? Well, then the Supreme Court is under the constraint of noon, January 20th, by the Constitution.
Yep.
So that is the other angle to it, right? It doesn't change the hurdles or the timeframes that we spoke about, but it gives the avenue to the Supreme Court, which is rather risky at the same time, because at that point it's not going to be a case of whether Trump is guilty or not. It's going to be a case of the appeal and whether he was given a fair trial or not. See, it's no longer what Jack Smith presented. It's how the case was handled.
So if we go back and review, you have a judge that spoke openly about January 6th and President Trump negatively. You have a venue which is heavily Democrat and obviously not going to be friendly to Donald Trump. You've had gag orders attempting to take away his First Amendment speech. You've had denial for Brady materials and discovery from the defense. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of different ways that the 6 Republican quote unquote justices could find their way to dismissing this altogether, right? That was my point, is every time Judge Chutkan does something like this, where she denies Donald Trump, whether it's the inflammatory speech about January 6th and the indictment, or this specific situation here with the select committee or whatever it is, I feel like every time she does this, she's only adding another point of argument in the future for Trump's legal team.
If
she agreed to all this stuff for Donald Trump and they still got the conviction, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder for Donald Trump to appeal and say that he wasn't given a fair shake, because if he won every little motion he filed, how could they say that? But the fact that she's denying everything that he's doing and asking for, I think it only feeds into that more.
This one in particular, the January 6th one, but look at how they weaseled that aspect of it, right? So then the question is going to be, who's the judge, which turns out to be Biden, as to the determining of national security issue, right? Because he's the ultimate declassification aspect of things. So that's pretty interesting. The one about the gag order, I don't see that one being used at all, although I'm sure that the Trump team will bring it up. But notice how careful they were on that, because her gag order wasn't that he couldn't talk about the case. Her gag order was he couldn't talk about the prosecution or the potential witnesses.
And Jonathan Turley, who's a constitutional scholar, he said that in itself was also ridiculous. Like even so, again,
yeah, but it's ridiculous. But the question is going to be that where the benefit of the doubt is given to the judiciary by the Supreme Court. Yes, it's ridiculous that is such a motion or such a gag order is put into place. But did that violate his capability to defend himself? In the public square, in the court of public opinion, yeah, I grant you, but that doesn't count in a trial.
Could you use that as evidence of judicial bias, though? The fact that
you'd have to put you could use it, you could try it. It'd be a hard one to do because you'd have to go to the aspects of intent and inside the judge's head. So you'd have to have a heck of a lot more, a whole more ammunition in my mind to do that. I'm not saying that they won't do it or that it's I'm not playing devil's advocate. It's just looking at it saying how they're not stupid. They may be pushed into a corner and they may be flailing on some things, but they're not stupid. Right. So it's an aspect of when because what if she would have written a gag order that says you cannot talk at all about anything having to do with the trial, that would have been out. She was overturned on the one she did, so that's a good thing on the Trump side. But it's this January 6th one that really the committee one that really is, to me, is going to be the bigger one than the gag order. Although the gag order would then be supplementary in this respect, because they're basically withholding evidence from the defense, and that's an immediate, in essence, judicial misconduct. Yep. Not necessarily by the judge, or in this case, by the judge. And the whole bullshit that the committee didn't have enough time. It's been what? How many years now has it been? The committee disbanded on January 3rd of 2021.
Yep.
It's now November 30th, for all intents and purposes, December 1st. Okay, let's say you use the exact date. It's November 28th of 2023. 2 years, 10 months later, and you haven't figured out what the fuck you're going to do with those material? Bullshit.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Clearly there's documentation in there of the I'm not going to use my words properly, but we'll just say the dirty cop nature of that committee. Again, you didn't get to see all the interviews and whatnot. They selectively took
Kash Patel right then and there is the one that's the clincher.
Yep.
Right. So you didn't get to see everything that the committee found. And that was purposeful. We all know it was purposeful because they only wanted to maintain one single narrative. Trump is guilty of insurrection, of inciting the insurrection. That's why it was the immediate word that was used. The timeline doesn't align to it. What Trump said doesn't align to it. Everything that they presented as evidence doesn't align to it. And the only thing they have is testimony from crooked, whiny cops that basically, and again, here's the interesting thing. Most of the cops that did the testimony were Capitol Police. Most of the cops that we've seen on the video doing the battling, if you will, were Metropolitan PD.
Right.
That, to me, was purposeful, and that's why I brought up when Pinata was showing the video yesterday and the before. I said, "Look who did this! It was the Metro Police, who's not under the Capitol Police Chief, who did the interview with Tucker." Then you have the video from Pelosi's daughter, basically saying that she herself thought that the whole thing of insurrection was bullshit.
So let me ask you this, Tien. Let's go on a little bit of a different path here. You got Mike Johnson as speaker right now. You had Jim Jordan as head of the judiciary. Why aren't they, after releasing some of this footage and seeing that the J6 Select Committee purposefully, picked and choose certain camera angles, we'll just say, why haven't they opened up a committee yet into the J6 committee itself? You know what I mean? Like why it feels like on this particular issue, there's a real lack of urgency to seek and destroy all things J6 related. You have some things in the House, some hearings here and there, and they did release the footage. It's great. But you would think there would be a whole subcommittee into investigating the investigators, so to speak. Like Liz Cheney and Raskin and Benny Thompson and all these people that put the country through that bullshit. Why hasn't the Republican Party gone more on attack and really kind of discredited all of that bullshit that they put out there? I feel like they've been very soft on that. Would you agree with that, or am
Yeah,
I?
no, I agree. I agree that they've been soft. The question then comes down to the why. And when you're asking the question, as you were asking the question, three possibilities came to my mind: timing, to give it the benefit of the doubt side;
Mhm,
complicitness, they don't want to know because a lot of them were calling an insurrection, were calling for the same things that the January 6th committee was saying,
mhm,
right? Many of them. And the other one is basically incompetence. I don't know which one it is. Everybody's going to have their own opinion based on how they see things, and based on their individual myopia, if you will. And I'm not criticizing anyone for it. I just don't know because
yeah,
the question is valid. And as a matter of fact, I think it was something that I saw today come across from, it was Jack Posobiec that said something about doing your job, which is basically the investigation, not necessarily about them, but that the videos now, that the whole J6 narrative is falling apart and with the videos coming out. So Republicans, what are you doing about it? That's in essence what he was saying, right? And my response was, and tagging the Republicans in both the House and the Senate, was saying, if you don't want like the moniker uniparty, do your job.
yeah.
So so it boils down to one of those three things for me. And I'm not saying all of them fall into those three buckets, into one of those three buckets rather, but I'm saying that the leadership comes down to one of those three. It's either there's a goal in mind here, a timing oriented goal, maybe working with the Senate, because we do have Mike Lee in the Senate calling for an investigation of the committee.
Mhm.
Um, then, or you have a complicit nature of it, or you have just incompetence. Because certainly, look, at the moment, I think there's only two things that are incredibly, three if you want to include elections, that are incredibly important to the future of this country: the border, the fraud that occurred in 2020, i.e., the January 6th aspect of that, and the elections of 2024. There's nothing more important to the future of this country than those three items. And
I
they're all interrelated. Yes, money, the monetary aspects, all of that. But look, if you don't have an issue of the elections, if you don't resolve the elections of 2020, and I don't mean by basically
a
kicking
gold backed
out.
currency isn't going to save you from what's happening at the southern border or from fraudulent elections.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that
Exactly.
and trust me, if and I agree with you, Tian. What you listed there is definitely like one, two, and three. Beyond that, I agree. Like the monetary system is like the next thing, but none of that matters without borders and without legitimate elections.
Correct.
Like
and
none of
and
that.
they're all intertwined because the binding agent, if you will, like baking a cake, the binding agent, the milk, or is the money. But in reality, the one that you can fix, unless you get unless you basically tell the Federal Reserve and the central banking system to take a hike,
Mhm.
that ain't going to happen with Biden in office. And it's a lot more involved than just saying take a hike, right? It could unravel really quickly in that aspect of it. But the elections of 2020, which is, I view January 6th and election 2020 part and parcel.
Yeah.
One led to the other, right? And whether you say that January 6th and the demonstrations were a result of 2020, or you say that the complicit nature and the Fed surrection aspects of it was to cover up 2020, what's the diff?
Right. Right.
And I'm not saying that, as many people say, we're not going to move forward until we fix 2020. Well, you're not going to. I don't see it in the way that they see it as the fixing. The fixing is not to reinstate Trump and blah, blah, blah. The fixing is to kill what ended up allowing that to happen.
Yep. No, I 100%. It's about sunlight, exposing it, fixing the processes that led to it, for sure. At this point, I mean, we're a year out. You know, if you're still fighting to have Donald Trump reinstated in 2024, you're missing the mark. You're left behind at this point. I was about that for about a year into Biden's administration. I was open to those kind of ideas, you know, potentially working themselves out. After about 18 months, I started looking at 2024 and, you know, the larger idea of Biden being a red pilling machine, essentially through his incompetence and corruption, leading into a massive red wave type political realignment in 2024, became kind of how I saw this playing out. So at this point, fixing 2020, I agree. It's not about reinstating Trump or declaring Biden illegitimate in the short term. And I do think that history will see that election as illegitimate. But
let history handle that part of it. Exactly.
Yeah, but right now that is not our fight anymore. If that's still your fight, I think you've been left behind a little bit here, and you need to catch up. I agree with that completely.
Today I saw an article because I was doing some research, and there was an article from CNN, mind you, and it had to do with I came across an article from the State of the Union, that's the publication, that was hyping up Nikki Haley and Chris Christie and making it sound like they were moving upward, and you know they didn't even bring Trump into the discussion in that article. And it kind of cracked me up because what they were saying was not untrue, but what they were not telling you is that they were strictly focusing on New Hampshire. Right. And even at that, Haley, who was on top of DeSantis, was 27 points behind Trump in New Hampshire. Right. So Trump had 10 more points. She was okay. Let me rephrase it so it comes out right. She was at 17. Trump was 27 points above her. So, you know, that kind of deal. But the thing that got me to doing was I looked at other aspects. And when CNN makes a statement in the very first paragraph about Trump and in the election, the headline was clickbaitish kind of thing. It was basically saying, you know, they were tightening, the race was tightening, or the words to that effect, alluding to that. But the thing is that in the first paragraph, they ended the first paragraph by saying a rematch between Trump and a hoveled Biden administration. From CNN. Hoveled is a horsing term when the hooves of the horse or the legs of the horse are basically they cannot walk.
Well,
they're falters.
That works on a lot of different levels, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
The dude from literally CNN. Can't even climb the stairs.
Yes, from CNN, mind you.
Oh, that's so funny.
Right? So it's like, so I don't think, you know, putting it another way, I don't think Biden's going to be the nominee. I still profess that. But nonetheless, either way you look at it, they are recognizing that Trump, MAGA, America First, whatever you want to lump it into, or whatever the banner is that you want to carry from the perspective of the left, is unstoppable.
Yep.
It is unstoppable. They cannot and will not muster enough people to be able to support that clown, Biden. So going back to the aspect of my top three, why would you have the border as it is? It has nothing to do necessarily with illegals voting, although there is a point to that. A number came out that was right now, without taking into account the number of illegals that recently have come in, let's say this year, there's about 23 million illegals that can vote. Not legitimately, but that can vote. That's the estimate. So you're talking about 23 million citizens being negated.
Yeah,
Right off the bat, assuming that every one of them votes, right? That kind of deal. But nonetheless, so that's why I'm saying that of the things that the Congress needs to focus on, impeaching Biden, give me a fucking break, okay? Put that aside, or work on that, but work on it and keep it in a committee, which is what they are. But the greater whole, focus on something else, and maybe they are, and that's where the timing thing comes into play. Maybe they are, then we don't know. Because truly we don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, if you look at to the Democrat side, you have Elizabeth Warren championing the antitrust suit against Subway because, for God's sakes, you don't want to have a sandwich monopoly.
So absurd. All right, let's say hi to Pinata real quick here, and then we got to get to the second half of the show. Pinata, nice surprise seeing you jump in here, man. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. So the Matrix let you go a bit earlier than expected today?
No, this is the expected time.
Oh, cool. Well, glad you're here for the second half. We got plenty more to get into. Plus, Craig Mason on the other side as well. Do you have any insights you want to throw out there quickly here?
Sure. I mean, on the other side, we can all see the desperation in Jack Smith when they're going after the placement of a comma. And no, not that Second Amendment for you folks out there, but in Mike Pence's book. Oh, that sounds like a great case he has over there.
All right, so that'll be fun to get into on the other side, along with our conversation with Craig Mason of Reasonable TV. All of that exclusively on pilled.net if you want to keep watching. So you guys on Rumble, YouTube, DLive, CloudHub, and Twitter, Odyssey as well. Make sure you guys grab the link below the Rumble or YouTube streams and come over to pilled.net for the second half. I'll put the links in the live chats as well for you guys to make it really easy. So if you're watching on DLive, I'll throw it over there, throw it over in Rumble as well. Boom, there it is. And I'll get it over on YouTube also for those of you interested in watching the second half of the show and watching the interview with our special guest, Craig Mason. I'm going to play a quick video. We'll come back on the other side. Close out the other platforms, and then we'll finish up the second hour exclusively on pilled.net, the home of free speech. We'll be right back.
Pilled.net is proud to host 412 Productions, exclusively on the true home of free speech. To continue watching the show, we are here to help you over to Pilled. If you're new to the platform, just click on the welcome link provided. It will then automatically walk you through signing up for your free account. If you already have a Pilled.net account, follow the link provided directing you straight to 412 Productions channel. We are excited to have you join the Pilled family, and if you have any questions at all, please email support@pilled.net. Enjoy the rest of 412 Productions on Pilled.net. Free speech lives here.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in wherever it is you choose to watch. I really appreciate your viewership. This is the time of the show where we shut off all of the platforms except for pilled.net. So we got another hour to go. We've got a great special guest and lots of interesting things to discuss in the next hour. I hope you'll come over and join us for that. Again, those links are in the Rumble description, the YouTube description, and I've put them in the DLive, Rumble, and YouTube live chats as well. Make it super simple for you guys to drop into the stream and come hang out with us. If you choose not to do that, absolutely no hard feelings whatsoever. We'll hopefully catch you guys tomorrow for the Wednesday show. We got 45-1 actual joining us on tomorrow's show. So it should be another banger of a broadcast. But in the meantime, come on over to pill.net and join us for the second half of today's show. So let's go ahead and say goodbye to DLive. Bye, DLive. Say goodbye to Twitter. Bye, Twitter. Bye to CloudHub.